Welcome back to the NAL, where we have C9 going up against Envy. Who is Dream? That is a great question, and he is actually on C9, so we're gonna have the opportunity to talk about him a little bit more, but also a former teammate.
Yeah, former teammate of ours. Dream, you know, Dream on Cloud9, get it? Because like when you dream, you're in the clouds.
He's just a chill guy.
Yeah, chill guy. Great teammate. Honestly, I would say so humble, one of the best teammates that I've ever had, just because he's always focused on winning. I'm really glad in this last year he's been able to find success, find a new team, be the leader of that team. Such a humble guy. So happy I pulled him off that Mirage roster to join our team way back when during the NAL. So, you know, fortunate for us.
Yeah, I mean, as much as, you know, he did find himself on a team, unfortunately, he hasn't really found the right team. I think that truly is fitting his play style in terms of his former success. Definitely needs us.
Dream, again.
You guys are retired, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, roster, Cloud9. The team that he actually is on hasn't really necessarily found a lot of success. But, however, when it comes to the fact that their schedule and what that looks like, it's also something that leaves a couple of question marks in regards to how strong it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, they're back on solid ground. Cloud9 can start to feel more comfortable in their matches here, because when you look right out the gate, I mean, wildcard, obviously, they get their win. It was cool. It was great. They found some stride, but then immediately go against M80, go against Space Station, go against Dark Zero. Just back-to-back-to-back losses.
They should be able to beat these teams.
Right, so this is a situation. This is why this is the game of the day, because this is a situation now that C9 can be more comfortable, find their footing once again, and find more points and get more points on the board just to secure themselves at least top 6. But when we talk about confidence and we were just talking about Dream is a player that me and you and just everyone across, we need to start seeing more from him, because what we've been seeing so far hasn't been that Dream that we saw back on Oxygen. Right now, he is actually currently rated the 2nd lowest player in the league. And now I don't want to focus too much on the stats side of things, because you have to look at it from a wide spectrum of reasons why Dream might not be finding success. And it really has to do with the simple fact is this team isn't finding success. If you're playing that support player, you're playing that pivotal role that's going to allow you an entry into sight, open up the walls, expose the enemy, you need to rely on your front line. You need to rely on Kobilax. You need to rely on Packer. And when all of those are failing, of course you're not going to be having the game of your life. Of course you're not statistically going to be the best player. And this is why I'm heavily emphasizing that they're back on solid ground, is because they have a lot easier games. So realistically, not only for the rest of Cloud9, even for Dream, they can actually start to find success and boost their stats going into these next games.
But if anything, that would also be like a little bit disappointing, considering how C9 had done at Reload and considering what we expected of them coming into here. You'd expect them to be able to hang with the top dogs, so then to come into one of these these games where the teams are lower rated at the moment in the standings and only then start doing well, still brings a lot of questions in terms of how solid C9 actually is in the ecosystem. But they are going to be going up against Envy, and that is a team that coming in we had a lot of questions about, and we said, can they show up? Can they show us what they're capable of? Can they bring that tier 2 experience into tier 1 and come out of the gate swinging? And they haven't necessarily been able to do that.
Not yet, but we can't be upset at the natural growing pains that Envy's been going through. Honestly, there's been a lot of improvements. I have been impressed. We talked about at the start of the stage, the NAL, they have the most potential out of the teams that qualified throughout the T2 scene, and they've had good bones. I mean, they have a really good understanding of where the gaps are, where to take advantage of teams, and how to execute fundamentally. That's their biggest strength, is they really got the strategy behind it. They just need to be able to have a little bit more confidence when it comes to inside the game server against some of these bigger teams.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the biggest thing, is it is going to be a growing pain. We've talked about with all the new teams, it really is coming a live and learn situation. But the thing for me with Envy, they keep repeating the same mistakes. As much as we want to give them praise, as much as we want to say that, that should already be now instilled in their play. Now going into week 3, where you need these points. You desperately need these points. So if you can't find success today going against Cloud9, where you can definitely say they're an equal playing field, then it's, to me, I'm not going to be as confident going forward.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the mistakes, because something that we saw throughout week 1 and week 2 was over-peaking, sloppy plays due to overconfidence, especially against OXG. But what we saw against SSG was a different style of Envy. It was a scared Envy, honestly, and that's what I'm talking about, is gaining their confidence, because in rounds that they should be cleaning up, they're making aggressive decisions like this. For no reason should Rival as a smoke be pushed up. You're in a man advantage situation, and then your top floor flank player for pressure with 10 seconds left overextends. You have JJ Blast in the game-winning position. No reason for you to overpush. And look at this. Where's Snake? Snake is hiding behind inside of Rice, just completely baiting his teammates. And yes, they did win that round, but this is time and time again, we see the scaredness affect them against these top teams. Envy gets the site taken away from them, and then look at the rest of Envy. They're just kind of walking around. There's no real game plan of how they're going to be able to retake into the site. Sloppiness from all fronts. They don't know where the rest of SSG is going to be, and it's just one round after the other. And then on the next round that we're going to see is they have a good understanding. They know that they want to be able to use this 2-on-1 situation against Ashen at the front door, but then for some reason, Emilio overswings before the C4 even comes out. He was supposed to be the information to call when Ashen walks through that front door, so the C4 can just clear him out. So they have a good idea, but we saw it against OXG, overconfidence. We see now underconfidence against SSG, making plays that don't need to be made. So Envy has the understanding of how to win these rounds. We just need to see them shake off any type of stress and focus and believe in the game plan, believe in the strategy that they have going into it, because it is fundamentally sound.
So maybe because week 1 we see overconfidence, week 2 we see underconfidence, and now it's gonna be like the perfect middle ground, right? It's gonna be balance. They're gonna be going up against Cloud9. They're gonna find a good map pick. Wax, when it comes to maps, what are we looking at?
I really hope we actually might see a Chalet. I think it'd be a great counter for Envy to be able to have that VOD on top. No, it's going to be Skyscraper. Ooh. I mean, we have yet to see Skyscraper from both these teams. Obviously, especially for Envy, we've never seen how these players play on, where we have seen players like Cloud9 play on this map. This is a map that really is defender-sided, but if you can find some sort of success, at least 2 rounds on attacks, you realistically should win off of your defenses here. And basically what we've seen from Envy and what Fox is pointing out is they understand how they want to approach some rounds. It's just a matter of what that end round looks like and how they want to execute.
Yeah, but that's like saying scrim results matter, because like at the end of the day, like it comes to when you're actually on the server, on the game day, in a best of 1, which is a lot of different components that you're looking at, but they have to do it against Cloud9 on Skyscraper. It can't be potential, because potential is obviously not fulfilled.
No, not at all. And it's going to come down to big players that we talked about. I mean, we saw the reason Cloud9 won their only matchup against Wildcard was because of Packer. And I think Skyscraper falls into the same type of map as Chalet, where the lurkability is going to be the biggest factor that sets it aside, because the rest of Cloud9 doesn't really have those hungry go-getter entries that are going to be able to get those picks. And Envy is very sporadic, unpredictable. There's not much footage on them on their Skyscraper. So it's all going to come down to if C9 can get into those corners, find the picks, and abuse the fact that Envy is so sloppy or split up. But in my opinion, I feel like this is a perfect map for Envy to go to, because so unpredictable. There's so much talent that's untapped on this team. If they can start it off hot, get that confidence in those gunfights, a lot of these 1v1 situations will be taking place on Skyscraper. I would give the edge to Envy.
All right, if and potential. Those are the 2 keywords that Fox is going for when it comes to actually going for that prediction against Envy. C9, however, they need to really show us what they're made of and whether or not they can hang in the NAL, not just with the top dogs, but also with the teams under them. We're ready to head into Skyscraper with Lynx and
Ginny, thank you very much indeed. We are going to Skyscraper, not only for the first time tonight, but for the first time in the NAL this stage. We've got Envy, we have got Cloud9. What are we to expect here tonight, Lynx?
Well, I do think, while we did see a very disciplined game from SSG, I think this is going to be a little more, shall we say, scrappy of a game between Cloud9 and Envy, who've shown a lot of potential and also a lot of mistakes. And something the desk highlighted is Envy giving away a lot of picks. And I actually will differ from Fox. I don't think that kind of play style will favor Envy. I think it's going to favor C9 more, just because, in my opinion, pound for pound, bar for bar, C9 has better shooters. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. And I think if it's going to be a game of who's giving away too many fights, or the flip side, who's capitalizing on more advantages, I think Cloud9 might have the better players to actually win those fights when the opportunity is given to them. But of course, we'll see how that is. It also doesn't help that Cloud9 are starting out on the defense. They can run up the scoreboard pretty early on, potentially get a 4-2, 5-1 half, which is always difficult, even if you're going to a disadvantaged side. And as the ban phase transpires, Ollie, we've got a Grim ban. I'm hyped.
We have got a Grim ban.
I am hyped. It's like literally my favorite. One of my favorite things because of this new ban system is Grim actually gets banned now. Because before he's always like number 3. Now we're getting some Grim bans.
Is Grim number 3 though?
Attackers need to
Look
Well,
at
I
what's
mean,
left.
think about it this way, right? Like, well, okay,
You've got
I get
number
that's
1,
true.
2, and
Oh.
3 all left. You've got a Monty, a Blitz, and a Ying.
That's true. I'll give you
Oh, you're
that.
trolling.
There's actually something Gabe and I have talked about is sometimes teams will like do a ban strategy that like only takes out one op from like the big play styles, like one shield, one execute op. And like you said, it's like, okay, I get it, but I could still run 2 shields. I could still run a Ying and a Capital.
10 seconds left before
The world is not enough when it comes to bans.
That, yeah,
You're never
especially
gonna
in a
have
game like
enough.
Siege. You're never
never gonna have enough.
gonna have enough.
I think we're all dying for it to just be like
use a bomb.
year 1. You know,
Ideally-
we're never going to get that many bans.
Ideally, I think the ban phase should take 15 minutes. We take off half the ops in the game. Anyway.
Banned it in a Clash ban. Now, the Clash is obviously worth talking about. Clash has got incredible power, and on a map that's already very defender-favoured, you don't really want to add into that too much, but it is going to leave a couple of other things open. Now, his army isn't being played yet, but his army is a bit of a mainstay here on Sky, so I expect to see some play time with that, but moving very quickly for the opening part of the round, but a C4 from Packer puts a very quick end to JJ Blast.
Yeah, that was a Pyrrhic victory from Packer right there, but able to detonate the C4 as he falls back. And it seems Envy has completely fallen out of sorts in round 1. A quick execute, a quick blitz into karaoke, and an even quicker exit from round 1.
Okay. 35 seconds was that?
Remember
Are we
how
trying
in
to
the
set new
SS
world records?
in the SSG game it took 2 minutes and 45 seconds for literally anything to happen in
Anything.
round 1?
We had 5 versus 5, 10 players alive, and there's 15 seconds on the clock. Yeah, that's not this. These two things are not the same. Did we even get into the... No, we didn't. The round didn't last a minute.
It actually was just a killing floor in Geisha.
It honestly lasted about 55 seconds. That isn't going to fly, Envy. You are going to have to come up with a little bit more than that. Skyscraper is, without doubt, one of the most technical maps in the game when it comes to attack, because there is just so much to deal with. There is so much information to grab. And whereas on some maps you can get away with just rushing in with a blitz, playing aggressively and playing off the back of your gun skill, Skyscraper isn't really one of those maps. It does play a little bit more tight. These pushes, they're far easier to defend from, just in the very nature, the very bricks and mortar of Sky. So we're going to have to see something else come from Envy, and they're going to be forced into showing it because, of course, we are changing bomb sites. We're going over to second choice site right now, Exhibition. But I think that Cloud9 are probably going to be somewhat happy with how that first round went. They're thinking, well, if that's what Envy are going to throw at us, we're happy to receive that, and we're happy to battle it back.
You're not going to be unhappy. I'll tell you that much. You're not going to be unhappy whatsoever. A little bit of an early aggression, a little bit of a jump out from C9. Nothing comes of it. No damage exchanged either way. Silent instead rotating over to Geisha. He actually was sitting in that exact doorway last time on T-Karaoke defense. Now he's on the opposite side of the map doing the same thing. I like this change from Envy. What I literally, as you were talking, Ali, I was like, let me go rewind. What was their setup that round? It was almost entirely on Geisha with one Karaoke and with one over by the top black door. And what I was thinking to myself, man, a Deimos would have been really nice. Slightly to get him below, pressure those vertical angles, maybe cut off Packer down below on the bottom floor. And that's exactly what we have right here. And guess what? He's entering with Snake from the bottom floor on this clear. This is quite a heavy roam clear from Envy, and considering C9 have fallen back so quickly, the downside is you've spent a lot of time to clear nothing. And Ali, as anybody who watched Skyscraper know, but you and I know especially, the two big time sinks are trying to get past trying to get past Terrace and trying to get past Drum.
Yeah, you can essentially cut the top floor in half, and when you've got an Azami, Kobe Likes is going to be playing that, it gets even easier. A little deployable shield there for Dream to play behind. He is going to get droned out, and the shield will be destroyed. But look at what it does to the clock. Still a minute left to go, and only now we're starting to see some okay-ish control there's still a bit of uncertainty downstairs. We've got Rival still droning for himself, and he's right to be curious because Packer is still below and has a great chance at playing spoiler right now, especially if Rival does start to try and rip open this floor with the shotgun or even the pistol. It's going to be difficult, and I think Packer primed and ready. He's going to find his man.
He had no idea. Excellent patience for Packer there. Unfortunately, very poor drone work from Envy, especially with 6 drones remaining. A minute 22, you had time to clear out that whole position. And now look, Dream rotates down below. He'll play the stairs, allow Packer to safely hold this position, use that C4 in the late round. Envy have got good control. They have taken top house, but JJ already softened up, felled by Silent, on for 2. Giddy cutting down Emilio in the process. And all that's left is that house stairs pressure when the attack has fallen to pieces around it. Man, you gotta be thinking, what impact could that Deimos have had to open up that round had Envy just been a little more thorough with their drone work?
A little bit more thorough with the drone work and maybe just a little bit smarter with the Monty. You know that someone's going to be playing inside a Dragon. Like, that's just a given. You don't necessarily need the Monty to challenge onto that. It wasn't control that you needed at that point in the round because you're putting the cart above the horse. If you haven't got downstairs cleared, there's no point transitioning in through Dragon. So rotate the Monty out, get the Monty downstairs. If you can't drone him, just do a full clear downstairs with the Monty, and you're going to find him anyway. That's going to buy you the time back, and that's also going to give you that surety to start working from below. Deimos' kit was fantastic for that round. Shotgun and the pistol on Rival. He was ready to do so much work. That Vendetta rips open soft surfaces and the shotgun. He's going to be able to find his kills no problem. So for me, it was just a little bit too disjointed from Envy.
100%. And even think about it this way. Even in what we saw, in going for that control, they acquired control of top house. Those defenders have nowhere to retreat to now. They can't rotate up house stairs. You could send somebody down below, maybe cut off their rotate from delivery and send that Monty to push in on bottom house and pressure them. They're completely boxed in at that point because you've acquired control of top house. So not only putting the cart before the horse in the element you mentioned, but even in the strategy they ended up doing, it still felt like there were more options instead of just sending it into the site through the doorway you entirely telegraphed you're going to be pushing from anyway. So Envy not only taking things too quick in round 1 and not securing enough, but same mistake in round 2 despite it happening a minute and a half after the fact. Now looking to try and secure the tertiary site. Shield spotted top black with 1 defender behind it. That's Giddy on the smoke. Expected operator in the expected position. He'll back off using the toxic canister to retreat. So he does have some support on that top floor. In fact, he's got some support and then some.
You look at what Giddy was expecting then as well. He was expecting, right, I'm getting pushed from top black. There's surely someone going to be pushing me from downstairs, or surely someone challenging on the window. There's nothing. You know, it's, again, pretty one-dimensional from Envy. They're trying to do everything with the Monty. And the Monty, whilst it can be a fantastic beachhead, it does need to be used smartly. Giddy could actually rotate out of this position, no problem. And the fact that he's still here now tells me that, you know what, he's probably more than happy to just stay there and play his life. Eventually, JJ is going to get himself in through, but there's still the small problem of Packer to deal with. What a shot that is from Twist.
I will say, he was making it a little easy for Twist to get that kill, holding that angle passively, pretty exposed to the doorway as well. Not really holding a particularly tight angle on that door. Could have maybe exposed himself a little less. Ooh, that's some poor Monty play right there. But finally, we get that bottom black pressure. Silent from the top ropes will still fall. Stabbed in the back by Twist on 1 HP. And now holding a passive angle as he anticipates the follow-through from remaining defenders upstairs. Snake, who's been lurking on the bottom floor, lurking in every single one of these rounds so far, has only found 1 kill for his troubles, similar to the rest of the team, struggling for impact. Now in the 2v2, HP almost even, Dream just a little bit better, and that sends Kobilax, hears the hop in, lands that pre-fire, lands that headshot, and makes the right move. You've already got that kill, fall back. No need to push the issue, no need to re-aggress, but everyone on about 1 to 2 bullets away from death, but Twist doesn't know. He'll give up the sends to cover his cross. But you can walk through those walls. You can still take that gunfight. Kobilax catches him off guard. It's C9 for 3.
Silent played really well inside of that round. Kobilax played really well inside of that round. Gitty played really well. Like, I think Cloud9, they're firing right now. They're making some really smart decisions. Envy eventually managed to string together the coordination to deal with somebody on black stairs. Like, it's the same as any staircase in the game where you've got either a door or window at the top, a door or window at the bottom. You are going to get pinched. And there are so many different examples that you can think of. Think of Solar on Chalet. It's the same stuff. Everybody knows how to do it. And it just took so long for Envy to get themselves into position to do it. Twist really opened things up. And I think had he not got that kill, there would have been no response for Packer tucked into Geisha, because he would have been very safe indeed.
And I think we should say it really did come down to the wire there. I mean, I think on two very tight angles, it was very possible for Kobilax to lose that fight and it be a 2v1. I have to say, very shocked we do not have a tactical timeout right now. Very, very surprised we don't have a tactical timeout. I mean, Skyscraper's defined by, I suppose defined by its defenses, but the flip side is defined by who can just win one more attack. On a very defender-sided map, who can just have that 150-50 attack go their way, the 1v1 or the 2v2 that we just saw. And we don't hit the pause button? Little perplexing.
Yeah,
Especially
we always say, you know,
especially 3
one
rounds
or two rounds. Yeah, 3 rounds in a row, you've seen a full rotation. What are you going to do differently? You've got to have a different plan. And the thing that scares the life out of me right now is that JJ's back on the blitz. This is the lineup that we saw in round 1.
Let's be fair. Maybe they figured it out in round. Maybe they didn't need to call the timeout, and we will see something different. I should say that. But we have to assume that they have figured it out in round, and if, like you said, we see JJ on the blitz, if we see more of the same, that's the worry I have.
They've got a very similar setup to go up against. We've got laser gates, banshees, all of this to try and delay a little bit of time, and a couple of early warning systems thrown in there for good measure as well. An extension into office as Gitty. Got a couple of mute jammers to play around, and he's going to need to try and dodge out of the way of this shock drone that will be coming in, but JJ immediately takes the push.
All right.
It's going to be Twist to find the opener.
But Twist to immediately exit round 4 right afterwards. Silent, excellent trade. Holding that long angle from Drum. Kobilax trying to retreat, shooting the feet of the Blitz. He's got that shield to play behind. Good entry, but Silent, man, what a game he is having. 8-1 so far. He's one of the players that basically undid Envy completely in round 1. He has been a consistent thorn in their side, matter of fact. And he's just continuing to do so. On for 3. Rival wide swinging the door. No information. Snake decimates JJ in the back of the head. All at the cost of, what, a 1v3 now? On 1 HP. If we were hoping for a different look from Envy, we're staring at more of the same. Up 4-0. Cloud9 looking excellent.
Feels like Cloud9 have got somewhere to be. I mean, it feels like Envy have got somewhere to be, really, because they're not taking the pace out of any of these rounds. They're still just running headlong into this brick wall. It's the same stuff. Using a blitz to take ground. It's a great strategy. It's used all over the world. It's used by some of the best teams in the world. But if there's nothing behind it, it's pointless. And it really does start to get a little bit old a little bit quickly, and Cloud9 more than capable of dealing with it. I think Silent positioned himself fantastically in that middle portion of the map, a real crucial area, and is able to have so much impact, not only into what's happening into office, but can also rotate out, get himself over toward main stairs, affect the site a little bit. He's got soft wall in between him and Dragon. At that terrace area, you can't let somebody like that operate in that position for free. I mean, it's a double window near there. You know, you've got to try and push him in and get something happening. Just strange stuff, really, from Envy. And again, no timeout. I mean, are they waiting for the other half? Are they thinking that they're going to be able to get a few defenses themselves, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, what half are you waiting for? You're down 4-0. Like, what are you waiting for? And you don't get me wrong, like, that round was different. It wasn't just a sight rush, Ollie. We can agree to that. They tried to go for the full clear, but oh, well. Let's do a little positive, little negative. Oh, please don't swing this. Oh, for the love of God, Kobe, please do not swing this. Let sleeping dogs lie. There we go. A little bit of positive, a little bit of negative. Positive. Twist got that kill. Good reaction. Negative. That was some major whiffage from Silent, and it's pretty clear Twist had no intel in that position. That could have very easily been a 5v4 had Silent not whiffed and gotten his 10th kill of the map. Oh, all right, well. What is happening? Okay.
Eventually gets shut down. Gitty is able to stabilize the ship, but
What?
he's on 1 HP,
What was that?
and it's now 3 versus 4.
What was that? This is like we saw that C9 game where they were doing well and they just hopped in sandwich window. It's like we're getting a little too loose now.
Getting limber.
Getting a little too fluid, a little too limber, if you ask me. 4v3 for Envy though. Can't complain about that though. They have had 4 opening picks in a row now. And maybe the difference maker will be removing that playmaker early on. Silent on for 2 different 3Ks in round 2 and round 4. One of them on this site back in round 2. And with getting on 1 HP, this should be a layup for Envy first attack. I mean, sure you don't have the shields anymore, and you I think are a bit light on utility. No Yings, no obviously Grim Bees, but just able to get the frags, finish up that kill. Giddy put down a 1 HP so early on. What does Kobe and Dream to do?
5 drones and a minute. Kobe knows that he's getting pressed from house
hello?
stairs here, but
Oh my
Dream
God.
is able to find himself 1. It's still a real tall order, but look at him go.
I mean, surely not. I mean, he's trapped in this corner. Secondary shot. He got the C4, but you're in such a difficult position. Too scared to even reload at the moment. Ironically, he would have had time, but you're just too much to worry about, too much to consider. Envy will take their first off of the back of some big early round plays by C9 that are very, very quickly dispatched by Twist outside and Twist inside.
I think Silent was doing the envy, wasn't he?
A little bit. A little bit.
Just
Especially-
a little bit aggro. Arguably, I mean, especially with hindsight, very unnecessary.
It's also the 3rd time he's been at that door specifically at
Yeah,
the
he
beginning
kind
of
of
these
likes
rounds.
it, doesn't he? It's a habit. It's a tendency. Oh dear.
Oh, that one hurts.
I think it's one of the first times he's actually found an engagement there as well. He's been there 3 times, and the first time he does, he just whips.
He's been prepping for this moment. Stage fright.
Fortunate. I think one thing we can credit Envy with is that they were able to take a lot of the pace out of that last round. We've seen them play a lot of rush rounds, and we've really questioned why. You aren't catching Cloud9 off guard, and they're really good at reacting to what you're doing, and they're more than capable of hanging at a mechanical level. So taking some of the pressure out and taking some of that energy out of the round and just relying, right, we've got some drones, we've got some time, you know, we can just start to work this out a little bit. It's what led Envy to the round. Yeah, they get lucky on the opening pick, and they're able to pick up a second very shortly after.
Oh
dear.
I tell you, C9 love these windows, man. Every single round, you got somebody sitting at an exterior door or window, and this time, it's a C4 from the... Oh, I literally was looking at him like, how does he have a C4? I forgot it's Sentry. I'm not used to seeing it. It's not Brazil. I just assume Sentry doesn't get played in a region that's not Brazil. We've actually got Striker and Sentry in this game. I don't know if I've seen that in NA in a while.
No, I felt like the novelty of that wore off, and there was a lot of other things that you could pick.
we could bring Striker, or we could bring Ying. Ironically, Envy were like, no, we actually do want to bring the Striker.
Why did Envy ban the Fenrir, by the way? Can we just sort of have a moment for that? We didn't really see Cloud9 play a lot of Fenrir.
We saw it once on barbecue.
That's enough. So Cloud9 have banned the Monty, something that's been played nearly every single round. And Envy choose to ban the Fenrir.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that, but yeah, it's kind of like, all right. Cool. 5v4 for Cloud9. Ooh, I thought that was going to be a 4v4, but Rival definitely kicking himself. He missed that one. Another gunfight volleyed up towards him, but that second C4 has an impact. Emilio looking for the full swing into Geisha, but Kobe lacks chances that 1v1. able to reestablish C9's lead. Twist on the cutoff has let Giddy sprint at top speed, breaking the sound barrier down Black Stairs. And it's still C9 with the advantage.
They've still got a little bit of time here. They've got the floors that they can try and leverage to open up some of this soft floor. JJ and Twist, both still healthy. Gitty, he's down a little bit. With Toxic Babes, they are going to be able to burn a lot of this 45 seconds that remains. And having used those Rotero drones upstairs to make the vert, the castle barricade's likely going to stay intact now. Do they know about Kobe likes? The answer's no.
Ooh! A little bit of a highlight reel, a little bit of a montage right there at the end. That one's going on Twitter. Same envy. That's my takeaway from that half, Ollie. Same envy. Still misdroning. Still taking engagements they don't need to. Still not thinking the plan all the way through. It's what we saw last week against SSG. It's what we saw last week against OXG. And not taking a tactical timeout whatsoever on a must-win side. Thankfully, you got that one. But really, really need to be clean on these defenses on a map that Envy have, to be fair, not played since Challenger Series, but have 2 wins on. So maybe they do have FaZe Clan level defensive half in them. A little 6-0 comeback.
It would be a fairly weighty comeback. And especially when you think back to some of those basics that, let's be honest, are kind of lacking. It was something that Lax was talking about on the desk. It's time for Envy to be stepping up. You know, we can't afford to be continuing to misdrone people, continuing to just plainly not know where people are and let it cost you round and round and round. So I think for Envy, yeah, they managed to snag a round, but often Skyscraper is defined by 2 rounds.
Yep.
And Cloud9, they have to try and prove that right now. A different ban setup has come through. Blackbeard and the Glaz both being removed. Cade and the Clash once again. So, some more options. Cloud9 have got the Grim, they've got the Bees. Lynx, does that make you happy? They've got one of the big 7.
I'm very happy. I mean, I'm more happy when Grim is taken off the board because, like, I think he's a really good operator, and I really, really like him. And so in a weird paradoxical way, I like seeing him banned because it, like, validates my love for him. Had the Grim and the Ying and the Dokkaebi out, but decided not to play any of them.
Yeah, Dokkaebi, Ying, Capital. Play the Bees.
And the Deimos. You got 2 different kinds of, like, weird little artificial metallic insect-looking things. I think the Deathmark trackers are like more like a helicopter, but you get the vision.
I understand.
You're picking up what I'm putting down. Big concern here is if, now to be fair, we're already down 4 drones 30 seconds in, but Cloud9 are playing things very, very differently the way Envy did. Envy obviously went for a clear, but they were very shield-centric. 4 rounds in a row running those shields. Packer is known for playing those shields, and he's not played it. And his main one, Blitz, is still on the board. Instead, they're looking to try and activate Kobe Lax and likely Silent 2 over by Exhibition and Office. Spotting some of that utility, of course, but putting a hot drone in front of those 2, maybe using that Deathmark tracker to try to break through control on this part of the map. They've lost 2 more drones since then, but Kobe Lax looking to put that Ash charge down, immediately sprint on in. My big worry, though, 1 player right to his left in drum, Legion just around the corner, too. There are a lot of different angles Kobe Lax can get exposed to and get hit by, and yep, there he goes, and he's shot by both of them. Packer's able to get on for the trade, Emilio cut down, but Kobe Lax has fed himself to the wolves in a way that honestly is quite reminiscent of Envy.
It's a shame because it looks a lot more considered than what we saw Envy do.
Agreed.
But that's only because it's happening at a later point inside of the round. The result is likely going to be very similar. C4 sent out there by Twist, but he isn't allowed to rotate. Packer with the catch from below. That actually keeps things competitive here and gives Cloud9 the edge. There's still 1 minute and 10 seconds left, and Gitty is yet to make his way into the building now, but they know that the majority of this Office and Exhibition side is clear. Biggest problem, they have 1 drone for this next minute, and I don't think they know where anyone is.
I don't think they do either. You could see that final Deathmark tracker being used. So much utility and time expended acquiring a side on the opposite side of the map. That big saving grace, though, is taking the Azami off the board. and all of JJ's smokes being wasted. All 3 toxic canisters have been used, but you still have the same issue, those 2 perennial choke points. Shrine and Drum. JJ can hold that with SMG-11 and Shotgun. Giddy trying to push in. There's still one on the opposite side of that panel. He doesn't even know he's there. He's let Giddy cross. Rival does land the trade, but it's back to even. Back to razor-thin margins, but that is what can define Sky in a BO1. As Packer hits the rappel, he's trapped in this corner. Stuck between 2 defenders, and Rival hits the shot. Silent spotted inside a Drum, very little to do. And defenders on opposite sides, easy pickings. 3K for Rival, as Envy win their first since round 5.
Envy coming away with a very well-deserved round win there. They set up nice extension into Office and Exhibition, and really made Cloud9 work for any control. Cloud9, they brought the Intel Ops, but as much as you can bring a Deimos, as much as you can bring a Grim, if you haven't got the tracks for your Deimos, and you haven't got a single idea where anybody is to send the Grim Bees, I'm not going to go as far as to say that they're useless, but their use is far less than it would be if you know where somebody is or what operators somebody is playing on, and whether it's worth even putting a track down on them. So Cloud9 falling foul there of the clock as well. You know, that was a bit of a factor there. It was causing a little bit of a rush. They were essentially trying to mount an attack through single doorways, and I mean, they managed to get into Geisha, but that was very short-lived. It wasn't taken properly at all. Envy, that's going to feel pretty good for them. It gives them a chance, and it gives them something to build on right now.
It's something.
5 seconds to go.
You do got to start somewhere, and on Skyscraper, more than most other maps, you can
Attackers are moving out to
not treat as a given, but treat as a fair assumption that, okay, we will have competitive defenses. Now, hopefully, ideally, not as competitive as what we just saw. You don't want everything coming down to a 2v2, but Skyscraper is just that defender-sided. It's baked into the map with those choke points at the center on the top floor, with how much the defense gets for quite a small amount of control, and often quite a small amount of utility invested. It's something that the attack will, no matter what game, no matter the teams, will always have to reckon with and consider. So there's a strong foundation built in that you can start moving forward from, and with 1 round under your belt, you're going to look to Exhibition and Office now to try to build it again. Mavline created in the wall, trying to spot something. Couple shots fired as Giddy will now fall back off, maybe just for flank watch. Spot and see if anybody's rotating around top house in the late round once they forgot about that Maverick, and now instead rotating to the opposite side of the map, clearing from T Karaoke on over.
It's quite a surprise not to see Packer rocking those shields again.
Trying to keep them on their toes, not be predictable.
Well, I mean, trying to be, you know, unpredictable is one thing, but it's been a big part of the Cloud9 playstyle. They're going to try and open up this Geisha wall. There is going to be somebody playing over inside of Garden, which has been rotated, so Bandit battery removed. The tin opener can be placed. Opening that is almost sometimes as dangerous as leaving it closed, but the benefit of using a tin opener, someone would have to vault out, and they're not just going to be able to waddle on out of there. Still not any closer to really nailing down one of these opening engagements, and Envy is sitting extremely tight right now. Kobilax at the top of Black Stairs. He's just entered in from the balcony. He's now also going to turn his attention over toward this Geisha, but an immediate hop in, that's a risky play.
That's a very risky play, and one I'm not sure Dream should have taken. Silent downed. It seemed like we had a solid play there, but we're all just sprinting around the building. We're all running like chickens with our heads cut off. 1v3 for Giddy, who's trying to pick up the pieces. But Diffuser all the way on the opposite side. Snake perfectly framed in the feet holes. Has spotted somebody over by Drum. All 5 Bs in his possession. One around the corner. Oh, but looking the wrong way. Sight completely covers JJ. And be able to now string together 2 in a row. But Ollie, wasted potential with that setup. You have one guy in Geisha, Kobe holding his cutoff with the AK, and Dream up front with the pressure. And we don't use our Candelas. We don't use our Bs to try to pinch that guy. Instead, we just sprint up into house in the center of the whole defensive matrix. We just hop in the double window, giving that guy there a 50-50. Feels like we skipped a couple steps.
We really did. I think that a lot was really being hoped on with Silence walk up main. And he was able to get one.
Got one.
But, I mean, yeah, it's the classic you know, oh, I got my one. That's what I would have said. I'm sure that isn't what Silence said. I don't know why there was no one in Geisha. I don't know why they didn't use any utility for it. Cloud9, they're playing very half-pregnant right now. They need to commit fully. And if they're going to try and clear someone out of Geisha, it needs to be the focus for everybody. And then when these things start to get a little bit easier, and when you're on a map that isn't Skyscraper, by the way, you can just send 2-3 people to go and clear somebody out. And you don't need to all focus on it. But I feel like their resources would be far better spent right now if everything was pushing in that one direction of clearing that player and then starting to mount something from that point in the round. That's often sometimes how Skyscraper plays out. You do have to put a lot of attention onto one thing to give yourself that foothold to be able to then mount something on this map, because as we've seen so far, extremely defender-sided. And to be honest, that isn't too unusual for Skyscraper, and it especially isn't unusual when you've got teams of this caliber playing against each other on the map.
No, not unusual at all. But this is the spot for Cloud9 to get in. That's the issue with the 5-1 half on Sky, is if you are just able to do the normal thing attacks can do on a defender-sided map, win the tertiary site, you win the game in regulation. It's the end of the day. It's that simple. That's why the 5-1 is so worrisome, and why Ollie and I are both surprised that we didn't see Envy hit the pause at all to try to mount something a bit more compelling, because 2-4, that's OT. 5-1, you just lose barbecue twice and you're cooked. Job done. We do finally, though, not just see the entrance of one shield into this round, both two. Silent holding the blitz, despite being 10-5, though most of that being on the defense, to be fair. And Packer on the Monty, pressuring this ward in top black. C4 goes out, and yeah, he's done for. GG in the early round, 5-4 for Envy.
Throwing magnet.
Actually, hard breach. Still have the ace. Still have one Selma. It isn't going to make anything easier from here on out. Kobe. He's got a chance of trying to peek onto this doorway, but I mean, there's nothing really for him to go on here. Typically, you'd maybe want a shield.
I don't know what the
and
plan is.
you know, really face check that.
What's the plan
Everybody
here?
knows where everybody is. I don't think there is much of a plan. We've got Gitty waiting outside on the rappel. Silent's going to be the player to watch. The diffuser cold on the ground, so we're not really looking at a plan. Looks like Silent's just going to go for a clear and get himself into T.
I mean, that's good, and Twist will completely turn his back. Giddy able to level this to a 3v3, but Silent, 2 rounds in a row, is on top of House in the middle of the entire defense. And when it's a 3v1 like that, your chances aren't great, even if your front is completely covered. Kobe picks up 1, and as with every single one of these rounds, it feels like, despite the odds, there's 2 players left standing on each side, every single defense. The winning team, Envy both times, have had 2 left. These Cloud9 2vx's and 1vx's have been fleeting at best. But now they've had some time to reset, and both defenders aren't on the site. Cloud9 have recognized this. They're giving it a little bit of time, but they're in the right position. Smoke goes out, no Warden to look through, potentially no BPs either. They can try to go for the vertical angle, but they have no idea where Kobilax is planting. But out here comes the retake. Both attackers reduced HP. Doesn't matter as they still get that kill. Snake now creeping down as the rest of the attack completely swaps sites. One goes upstairs too to retake the vertical angles entirely. And now it's Snake on the back foot. Now it's Snake uncertain, spotted through the wall. Kobilax somehow goes down. And can Giddy spot this? Just 1 bullet necessary. Can he spot the angle from up above? He can see it horizontally. He doesn't commit. He sprays all around him. And Snake just gets away with the counter defuse. 3 in a row. Envy making miracles in the kitchen.
I can't believe what I've just watched. I really cannot believe what we've just watched there. Cloud9 played it really well. 2 versus 2. They decide to hit site. They recognize if these players are off site, then we've got a chance at hitting site. The vert wasn't made. There wasn't sufficient vert upstairs to try and hold it. If there had been, Cloud9 would have won the round being able to hold from upstairs. That wasn't the case. Envy should have realized what was going on. Oh, it's quiet. Oh, the clock's ticking down. We can't hear any attackers. We can't see anything. I wonder where they might be. Well, let me tell you, they're on the site and they're getting the plant down. So you need to try and rotate and do something about that. Not too much of a surprise to see a timeout here for Cloud9. Gitty on the rotate, that's a question mark. I don't know why he has to rotate there. I feel like he just plays inside a barbecue, inside a kitchen, and just peeks at the right time. Because the clock's running out, there's pressure for Snake to get onto that disable. There's no chance that Snake's able to pick up the kill and disable the diffuser. You've just got to play the game, stay tucked, stay safe, and peek out at the right time. Blunders from both sides, and Cloud9, they really should be sat here on a match point.
You do feel for Giddy a bit, though. I mean, I think he just really, because in theory, Ollie, I think we could both agree going for the vertical angles is a perfectly fine idea, something that's very sensible on the attack. But as you said with the timing there, it took a long time to establish that rotation. And once you get there, and unfortunately you got a bit unlucky that there were no vertical angles because that rotate did take so long, you don't really have much. I will say, if we want to start all the way back to the beginning, I really am curious about what happened with Packer right there because, I mean, obviously I know what happened. He got C4'd. But he's just walking in top black. There's nobody behind him to play that trade really whatsoever. Everybody was on drone. Everybody was holding passive angles. I know Packer wasn't pushing too far, was just trying to explore a little bit, but just availed himself to the defense in a way that I just don't think needed to happen at that point, especially with no pressure going on anywhere else. I mean, maybe stand in the doorway and then back off. That way, if you get a C4, you can walk back outside. When you're committing to top black on the inside, in a way you just don't need to 45 seconds into the round. I know it's a small thing to highlight with how that round ended with a huge 1v1 and a 2v2 overall, but even going back to the beginning, you commit to the double shield and you lose it in that simple of a way. We were giving Envy a lot of flack on those attacks, and Cloud9, to be perfectly frank, are not impressing whatsoever.
No. And then you sort of put this into the context of the game and the map, and you think, well, were Cloud9 ever really that good in this series? Or were they just playing Skyscraper on the defense? Because Envy have looked good. You know, they're playing with the back up against the wall to some degree.
And Ollie, when they lose 4 of the opening duels on defense as well on Sky, maybe that defense really not just was a Skyscraper defense, so you put an asterisk there. Maybe it was a bit of a paper tiger for C9 overall. If Envy are still getting the advantage in most of those first 6 rounds.
Well, Cloud9 have taken their tactical timeout. It's a good time to use it. They don't really want to give Envy a chance to draw level here or, heaven forbid, take a lead. And we'll be expecting to close this game out. Envy on the flip side, they've got a couple of rounds under the belt now. It also gives them a time just to take a breath, take a moment, and to understand how they are going to move forward. Cloud9 again with a very strange lineup, and again not choosing to bring any of those big, powerful operators. Snake, opening engagement onto Dream. Yet another engagement that's going to go Envy's way.
7 opening duel victories. 7 for Envy so far, 4 on the defense, and now 4 on the attack, and now 3 out of 4 defensive rounds. Getting this opening, they are set up in a much better position than even Cloud9 were on their defenses when they got 5-1. 5-1 Cloud9 went. In a worse position, fighting from a 4v5 throughout rounds 2 and 4, 2 through 4. And now Cloud9 have attacked, they're down a man. A minute remaining. No Azami, to be fair, and they have taken remarkably quick control of Drum. I'm a little worried about that. You've still got JJ on for 3 smokes. Geisha, full control of the defense with players around the corner to trade. All right, well, never mind. Kobe just immediately domed him, but it's again Envy showing that Fox was correct. Maybe I was wrong. Envy are pound for pound, bar for bar, going toe to toe with C9, and Giddy unaware of Twist's position on the close reinforcement is now the second 18th kill for Envy to get 4 defenses in a row, and we are all tied up.
Envy locking it in 5-5 now. The hard work's done. They've mounted the comeback. A lot of pressure comes onto the shoulders of Cloud9 now. They have had the advantage. They have been only 2 rounds away from tying up this game in a nice little bow and moving on with everything. As it stands, it's going to feel like they're back at a square one right now. Nothing they have done on the attack has yielded any result so far. Finally, in round number 11, we are seeing a shield be brought by Cloud9. Finally, we are seeing a Dokkaebi being brought. These are things that have been available throughout the course of their attacking rounds. But now, enough is enough. They've said,
No
we're
shield.
going to 6-pick off them instead.
Now,
Brilliant.
and hey, you know what? Hey, let's be fair. They did run 2 shields in round 9. It's just that,
Okay.
it's just one of them got C4'd immediately, and the other ran in the middle of the defense, got 1 kill, and died. So.
I
they
mean,
ran
they've been
the shield.
6-picked off now, so it's a mute point.
Moot point. It's a moot point.
It's a muted point.
You know, you could have played off it like, oh, we were spectating mute, so it was a pun. But you didn't do that, did you? But you didn't do that, did you? Yeah, for Cloud9, they've tried the shields, they've tried the executes, they've tried aggressive roam clears, and nothing has worked, even after the timeout. They lost the Sens immediately last round. They got the Ying, like they had last time on Exhibition and Office. When Silent went for that entry up main stick. Okay, all right.
Okay, JJ.
JJ getting silly with it.
Yeah, you just calm down a little bit there, buddy.
JJ for Kobe likes, I make that deal.
Yeah, probably. I think Envy make any deal right now because whatever they're doing seems to be working. Envy can live with only 4 bodies in the site, but can Cloud9 attack with only 4 bodies? I don't know. It's a very different matter, isn't it? Silent has got himself in below, so he should be able to open up some of the flooring and give Rival a little bit of a hard time, maybe even force him out of the bomb site. Where's the pressure going to come from outside, though? Yeah, you're going to get himself into that Flores drone. Great way of not only gathering a bit of information, but also destroying some utility. And that's exactly what it's going to do. Takes down the FNAP. It's going to be placed up there on that sword's window. And it's going to allow him a clear line of entry at a later point in the round.
But again, as with all these C9 rounds, I'm thinking, what's the plan? What are we doing here? Is it just going to be a standard office plant? You got the Yings, you got the hard breach for it, but we have 6 drones. We have 6 drones. We have 6 drones. And Snake isn't droned. Now Silent goes for that backstab. 6 drones at a minute left, and Snake isn't droned. And Silent dies. Now you're in a 3v4. You use 2 Candelas. Dream literally cannot walk in that breach. Packer does not know Snake is there either, but manages to win because he's got a C4 in hand. He's sprinted in with the pistol, again, into the center of the defense. And Giddy's in a 1v3 on sword window. Rival has left the game, and Envy have still won. 5 rounds in a row. Match point Envy. Hole in 1.
Is that what that is? I never realized. I didn't realize that what JJ was doing there was a hole in 1.
I don't know if it was. I extrapolated. Rival DC'd in a 1v3. Like, that affected nothing. But, like, it feels symbolic, Ollie. And that Rival...
It does.
These rounds have been close. But...
Some rounds have been close. I will asterisk that.
That's what I was
Some
gonna
rounds
say.
have been close.
That's what to say. Rounds 7 through 9 were close. Round 10, 4 people left alive for Envy. Round 11, 3.
The thing is,
we're getting
Cloud9
worse.
are at total head loss right now.
Full mental loss. I mean, I don't even know. I truly don't even know. Cloud9, you can clearly see it on their faces, a bit mentally boomed at this point. And as we take some time to get Rival back in the game, we'll take a short break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is 6-5 as Envy have actually done it. Mounted 5 rounds in a row, down 1-5 at the half. After clinching a narrow victory on Exhibition and Office in round 5, and now we're here. Ollie, I said, how could they not take a timeout? 4 rounds lost, how could they not take a timeout? Well, boy, do I feel stupid now. Because they had the defensive half of a lifetime in the back pocket.
You know, it's not often that we will talk about the match in a tech pause. Often we'll get a drink and we'll just rest for a moment or two. But we actually spoke at length about this matchup
Literally,
during that pause.
The moment the
Which-
break started to the moment we came back.
And I think part of it was because it's a good game. All you need for Siege is 2 equally matched teams. And regardless of the mistakes that are being made here, these teams are fairly equally matched right now. Both teams can defend Skyscraper. We kind of knew that already. And we're slowly but surely learning that there's one team that can't attack Skyscraper. And at the moment, it's looking like Cloud9. Yeah. Now, there's been a break. There's been some time to take some of that tension and angst out of the air. And I'm sure that Cloud9 have managed to steady themselves a little bit. Their approach here is going to be somewhat similar to what we've seen before, but already it looks a little bit more considered. We've got some good drones establishing some information, and Packet isn't running too far ahead of the pack right now. In fact, he's only just getting his way to that halfway point in the map.
But there's a shotgun around the corner. We've seen quite a few missed drones from C9 today, but no missed drone necessary there as Twist hops around the corner, reveals, hey, I'm here. I'm right here. Don't you worry. I'll just be chilling. He doesn't really have to do much. That wall's fully reinforced. He's got the shotgun on the close angle. Even Snake pushed up further. Another drone destroyed for C9. These Castle barricades, something we've not talked about that much. This is actually the 4th time we've seen Castle, a huge mainstay of Envy's defensive so far this half. It's been so kill heavy, we haven't really had much time to talk about it, but it's even wasting a little bit more time on the side of C9. Silent has to destroy it. Another C4 goes out. That's why you need that help, so he doesn't die to the C4, and it doesn't matter. Not one goddamn bit. 6 rounds, 7 through 12, boom for Envy as they complete the comeback of the day to topple C9 7-5.
I think it's a well-deserved result. Based on the siege that we saw, Envy had what it takes. We talk about Skyscraper as a map that is often defined by only 1 or 2 attacking grounds. Today, it was defined by a single one. Envy, the only team able to get around on the attack, and not only that, but go flawless on their defense. It is always a bit of a feat. It's always something that's nice to watch when the team that struggles on that first half of the game eventually vindicates themselves and wins out their attacks. But Cloud9 just didn't seem to have the answers here today. A lot of it was looking very one-dimensional, and I don't think we saw them play the best ops available or even play to within their comfort zone until those later portions of the map. And almost by that point, it was kind of a little bit too little too late, because the confidence from that side of Envy, you could see, was just growing round after round. Twist, he had a fantastic game, and it was coupled by his teammates as well. We're going to hit a very short break. After that, we'll be back with the desk, and I am sure they are ready and waiting to break this one down.
Last one go. It sounds like Keisha.
Swap it, reset.
Let's go.
Come on!
Go.
On
your first win in regulation.
Let's fucking go, man.
Well, that definitely was a way to celebrate. You were sitting here shaking your head in disapproval.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not happy for either team. I mean, great, you get points, but both teams look really sloppy, and being a former player, I mean, I don't think there's either one of these teams. You won off defense on a very defender side of the map. Nothing was convincing.
I'm going to cut you off, okay? You're the negative Nancy.
Good.
You predicted Envy, and you were right. How does it feel?
It feels great. I mean, I, for one, don't like to be wrong, so I'm happy that Envy came out on top. It was really good resilience. At the end of the day, yes, both teams did play very sloppy. Really sad performance from Cloud9 on their attacks. A lot of just questionable plays. There wasn't much diversity in their play. They just kept trying to throw bodies at it. The trade game was horrendous. But as for Envy, I mean, to be down 5-1 and to then pull it back and have an undefeated defensive half.
You're on defense.
You're on defense.
I mean,
Skyscraper
are we handing out participation points?
Yes.
I mean, it's still amazing to do, to be such a new team to the league, to have that pressure of being down 1-5, to be able to have the resilience to come back and bring it back, and to be able to play off of each other. I mean, that was just, I mean, it was a really good performance on the latter half for Envy. Both teams attacked, struggled. But I think that
Don't
says
say
more.
struggled. They were shit.
Yeah, both teams' attacks were bad. But the thing is, that says more about Cloud9. You'd expect more from Cloud9 on attacks as opposed to Envy that just relegated into the league. So the fact that they were able to at least bring the game back and win it out, that was amazing. Really good resilience. Mental game from Envy was really good. And yeah, I was correct on my prediction of Envy.
The Blacklight detail is going to be going specifically to round number 9, Lax.
Yeah, this was a little bit frustrating because this round realistically looked like this was going to go in Cloud9's favor. To put them at 6 rounds, which could have instilled a little more confidence. But, I mean, Silent, one hell of a game. I mean, I want to give it to you. Played great. But right here, you're in a 3v3. You have the shield. Well, it stops a little. It goes a little sooner. You see that player, but then you just want to focus on a player over Engaged where one, Giddy can't support you. Kobe Lax isn't even with you. You give up this kill right here. And had you play this, sure, this is all in hindsight. You can't fully look back at this round and be like, oh, Silent, you lost this round because this round plays out, goes down to a 2v2. Cloud9 end up just choking it. But it's just a domino effect of these small airs start to just build up one right after the other. And it's a huge reason why. And when you lose rounds that you should win, especially when you're in a 5-5 situation like that, each round is just as important as the other. When you're losing to small micro things that you are in complete control of, it really does daunt in the mind.
Well, hindsight 2020, also a lesson that you live and you learn specifically for Cloud9. Envy, however, has learned from the last 2 weeks because they're able to get some points on the board today. And we have JJ ready for an interview, who had a very great celebration at the end of the game. Congrats!
Let's run it!
Hey,
What's up, NAL?
You guys have done it! So you're obviously incredibly hyped going up against Cloud9 and actually being able to secure this win. Can you describe the emotions that you're feeling right now? Because the second you won, you like threw your chair back and you got up and, you know.
Well, I'm an electric guy, but first I would actually, if you don't mind, I would like to respond to the desk because, Fox, I appreciate all the love and support, but I completely side with Laxing. Our attacks were piss poor, and there's a lot to improve on as a new team in the Pro League. It's a completely different territory for most of us, especially on the attack side, which is harder. That's what always separated the T2 teams from the T1 teams anyway. They can perform on attack. So it's a big learning curve for us, and that's like a big focus. So obviously still needs a lot of work, but I'm ecstatic for the boys that we were able to come through because I think it's a big showing that you can be down 1-5 and you still find a way to grind it out and just take advantage of the other team's weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, it really was a testament to your guys' resilience. That being said, I mean, I feel like you've always sided with Lax over me. Like you're
I mean, I got his jersey. That guy's the goat
towards him. So,
that guy always got a 3-piece on the flank. Can't blame him. He got his.
Even when I predict you guys, somehow still Lax is right. But no, I mean, that being said, walk us through, as being a team that just came out from the T2 scene, you're down 1-5 against Cloud9. What's the communication like to keep everyone level-headed? Obviously, Skyscraper defense has its own perks to it, but still, to be able to not let that round count affect you as such a new team to the NAL, to the stage, tier 1 of the game, what's the communication like? How are you guys feeling in that moment?
Yeah, so I mean, just the main thing is just keeping the vibes high and having fun after going down 1-5. Most teams, like when they go down like 1-5 on like a defender side of map coming from attack, like everyone knows you can bring it back if you use, but like the big thing is like the vibes and energy, and everyone's still playing confident even though you're like in the gutter. So that's like our biggest thing, is just keeping vibes high. I'm not a big fan of going to like the defender side of maps in a best of 1, but we thought we'd test the water today. So a big, like, just staying confident with the team. Like a big reason we went down was just like, we're still trying to find our footing on attack. Like our first couple pro games, we were really slow on attack and just kind of playing scared, like double droning things we knew were clear. So there's like times like in our last couple games, we've been trying to like do a lot more like faster things to get the comms flowing, the blood flowing in the game. And that hasn't been working either. So it's just kind of trial by fire. But I mean, just being able to capitalize on the defense is what was important today.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, congratulations, JJ. I think you guys obviously getting 3 points is big for yourselves. And I do respect your response to that and understanding, yes, you do agree that the attacks weren't great, because I think in order for yourself to grow and for the team to grow, you have to realize when things are great, you do get a win. There are a lot of things to take from that. So again, respect for that. I am kind of curious. I mean, what we were seeing on your guys' attacks, we were seeing a lot of missed drones, look like some miscommunication here. And when you're going to go into a best of 1, especially where you almost need to be perfect, I would think basically based off scrims and just prior matches, some of those things would be fixed, especially like the droning side of things.
Yeah, I'd have to watch the VOD back because it was kind of like, it was a blur, bro. I'm gonna be honest. There was just rounds were just like, I feel like there was a couple rounds where we were in good positions, but then like kind of just like inexperience of just not really playing composed when we put ourselves in a decent spot. For example, there was a, I think one of like the early rounds where like everything went down on black stairs and like we knifed a guy.
Yeah, that
it was
was
a 2v2 and like we played it like 2 individual 1v1s, right?
Right.
So, and then there's another round, I think we had like almost like a 3v2 on a barbecue clear. So it's definitely like the mid round, I feel like definitely has to improve on like actually working together when you get into the situations that aren't pre-planned out and you have to be off the script.
Just one question. With being a brand new team, because more experienced teams can kind of talk between the rounds. Do you guys just completely focus on the next round? You just dismiss anything that happened the round prior? Or do you guys kind of talk about it and then focus on the next round?
It's situational. I usually like kind of towards the end of the round, either if it's over, like in between the rounds, I kind of try and reel the team in and say like what we think we need to do. And Snake's also a big part of that on this team.
Yeah.
He's not like a shot calling vocal figure, but he's our best pro league experience, and he's very good with like keeping people calm and being like, okay guys, we need to switch up the pace. We need to be slower. We're playing like too jittery and stuff. So that like Snake's definitely like a bigger vocal like leader on the team than people would think.
All right, perfect.
Well, thank you so much for the insight. And again, congrats on the win that you guys really clawed your way to. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good luck for your game tomorrow.
I'll enjoy this one for once.
Yeah,
Yo,
right.
I actually get to get lit tonight, bro.
Oh, you got a game tomorrow.
Yeah, you do have a game tomorrow. Gotta remember that. See you then.
Oh, they
Bye.
cut them off. They cut the mic off. They cut the mic off.
Gotta get lit. I mean, you know what? I love the enthusiasm because there have been instances, no shade to anyone, by the way, but there have been instances of
Well, anyways, go on, sorry.
of players coming on these interviews after a win, and you're like, you won, yay! And they're just like, yeah, we won. So this is really nice. I like this.
No, I don't like it at all. I predicted them to win, and I don't get no credit. Somehow Lax gets the credit. He's more happy about Lax saying what they did wrong than me predicting them when no one believed in Envy. Well, I'm not going to predict Envy anymore.
I mean, we're analysts. We got to analyze the game, and what we saw wasn't the best from out. And I mainly get upset because I know the potential of these players. We've seen many instances where they can be great. I just don't like to not see it at a consistent
Yeah,
basis.
and the players came through from the Tier 2 seed, so a little bit of a reminder for you guys as well. Element, it has
There he is.
happened, but that is JJ after a win too. Register today. Qualifiers, 20th to 22nd. That was in the past. Qualifiers number 2 are tomorrow. Tomorrow's 27?
Yeah.
Yes, tomorrow's the 27. Okay, I got my dates right this time. There we go. But the floor is now, or the desk, or the area for you two, because you would never play Tier 2, but you.
Yeah, Element is an amazing place for you to grow. I mean, we just saw the man on the screen, JJ Blast, qualify in for this last stage, gets an amazing org and backing with Envy, and now the team got their, great win today against Cloud9. So obviously just goes to show that, if you're hungry, if you're passionate about your dreams, anything can be possible. So if you're at home watching the pro teams play, definitely Elements where you want to be able to go to have that chance or just get noticed by some of the top pro league teams. And
Like Orgulus.
Yeah, like Orgulus, and potentially have a chance to play against some of these players that you've been watching. If you believe it, that you can beat them. It's a great run, great attempt, and it's really fun to do if you have like-minded friends.
All right, but that is just Tier 2. We still have 3 more games coming up with OXG going up against Shopify next. This has a chance to be one-sided. It has a chance to be a really close game. If you want to find out which one our analysts think it's going to be, stick around because we're going to be back after the break.